I stood at the end of the dock, watching the rain create circles on the lake's surface. Behind me, the cottage was dark except for the small gathering inside. Patricia's memorial. 7 people. 7 people to remember a woman who'd touched so many lives. Our neighbors, the Hendersons, old Bill from the marina, Patricia's nurse, Sarah, the minister, my brother Tom, who'd driven 4 hours from Calgary, and me. 7 people. But not the 2 who should have been there. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. Probably another text I wouldn't answer. The rain soaked through my suit jacket, but I didn't move. I couldn't go back inside yet. Couldn't look at Patricia's photo on the mantel. That smile frozen in time from 3 years ago, before the diagnosis. Before ALS stole her voice, her movement, everything but those incredible blue eyes that could still tell me she loved me right up until the end. The lake stretched out before me, gray and endless. We'd bought this place 28 years ago, a tiny cottage on Okanagan Lake, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Every summer weekend, every long Victoria Day, every Thanksgiving. Patricia loved this place more than our house in Kelowna. She used to say the lake was where she could breathe. Ironic, considering how she died. Drowning in air her lungs couldn't process anymore. I pulled out my phone. Another message. Not from who I hoped, just the funeral home confirming tomorrow's arrangements. I scrolled up through my messages, looking at the thread I'd checked obsessively for 3 days. Michael, last message, 5 days ago. Sorry, Dad. Project deadline. Can't get away. Jennifer, last message. 6 days ago. Kids have tournaments all weekend. You understand, right? I'd sent them both the same message 3 days ago. Your mother passed away peacefully this morning. Memorial Thursday at 2 p.m. at the cottage. Michael responded 6 hours later. Oh no. So sorry, Dad. Still can't make it, though. Work is crazy. We'll visit soon. Jennifer took 8 hours. Dad, I'm so sorry for your loss. But with Josh's hockey and Emma's dance, maybe next week? Not even our loss. Your loss. Like Patricia wasn't their mother. Like they hadn't grown up in this cottage, learning to swim off this dock, roasting marshmallows in that fire pit I could see from here. Richard? Sarah's voice, soft behind me. You should come inside. You're soaked. I turned. The nurse who'd cared for Patricia these last 6 months stood in the doorway, concern written across her face. Good woman, Sarah. She'd been there more than my own children. Just needed a moment, I said. I know. She hesitated. I put the leftover sandwiches in the fridge. And there's a casserole from the Hendersons. Thank you. Your son and daughter? They couldn't make it? The question I'd been dreading. I shook my head. Sarah's expression hardened. I see. She'd witnessed every single day of Patricia's decline. She knew exactly how many times the kids had visited. Twice. In 18 months. Twice. Michael came last Christmas, stayed 3 hours, spent most of it on his phone dealing with work emergencies. Jennifer visited in March, brought the grandkids. That was nice. For 2 hours. Then Emma got bored, Josh wanted to leave, and Jennifer said they had to get back to Vancouver. Patricia cried after they left. Couldn't speak by then, but I saw the tears. I went back inside. The minister was saying something kind about Patricia's spirit. The Hendersons were nodding. Bill wiped his eyes. Tom gave me a look that said, You holding up? I nodded back. It was over by 4. Everyone left except Tom, who helped me clean up. You want me to stay tonight? He asked. No. Go home to Susan. I'm fine. You're not fine. No, I admitted, but I will be. He hugged me hard. Call me if you need anything. Anything, Richard. I mean it. I know. After he left, I sat in Patricia's chair. The hospital bed was still in the corner of the living room. We'd moved it there 6 weeks ago so she could see the lake, so she could watch the sunset. I should call the medical supply company to pick it up, but I couldn't bring myself to make that call yet. I pulled out the envelope Patricia's lawyer had given me 2 weeks ago. Patricia had still been able to use her eyes to control the computer then, laboriously typing out messages. Give this to Richard after I'm gone. She'd written to David Chen, our lawyer for the past 15 years. Not before. I'd promised I wouldn't open it until after the memorial, so I opened it now. Inside was a letter. Patricia's handwriting from before, when her hands still worked. dated 14 months ago. My dearest Richard, it began. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and I hope you gave me a beautiful send-off by the lake. I hope you wore that blue tie I love. I hope you didn't cry too much, but I know you did. I know you, my love. By now, you've noticed that Michael and Jennifer aren't there. I'm sorry, Richard. I'm so sorry that I have to be right about this. I've been watching them for the past year, watching them pull away, watching them stop calling, stop visiting. I know what they're waiting for. They're waiting for me to die. Not because they miss me. Not because they want to say goodbye. They're waiting because they think they're going to inherit this cottage. They think they're going to inherit the life insurance. They think they're going to cash out and split it 50-50 while you're grieving. I won't let that happen. Remember 3 years ago, right after my diagnosis? Remember when I insisted we meet with David, update everything? You thought I was being morbid. I wasn't. I was being smart. Everything is taken care of. Everything is protected. David has all the documents. He'll explain everything tomorrow. Trust him. Trust the plan. But Richard, I need you to promise me something. When they show up tomorrow morning, because they will show up, don't let them make you feel guilty. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking you're being unfair. You gave them every chance. They made their choices. You were the one who held my hand every single day. You were the one who learned to work the feeding tube. You were the one who slept in that awful recliner next to my bed because you wanted to be close to me. You were the one who read to me when I couldn't hold a book. You were the one who told me I was beautiful even when I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. You were the one who loved me until my very last breath. So don't you dare feel guilty about protecting what's yours, what's ours. I love you, Richard. I loved you for 35 years, and I'll love you forever. Always yours, Patricia. P.S. The code to the safe is our anniversary. There's something inside for you. My hands were shaking. I read it 3 times. Then I walked to the bedroom, to the safe hidden in the closet behind Patricia's old coats that still smelled like her perfume. June 14th. Our anniversary. The safe clicked open. Inside was a USB drive labeled "For Richard Only" and another envelope marked "For David to present if necessary." I took the USB drive to my laptop. One video file, dated 15 months ago. I clicked play. Patricia appeared on screen, sitting in her wheelchair in this very living room. This was before she needed the feeding tube, when she could still speak, though her words were slurred and her head drooped. "Hi, baby," she said to the camera, and I started crying immediately. Her voice. God, her voice. If you're watching this, I'm gone. And I'm so sorry I had to leave you. But I need to tell you some things. First, I love you. You know that. You've always known that. Second, I need to explain what I've done. About a year ago, I started noticing the pattern with Michael and Jennifer. The calls got shorter. The visits stopped. When they did call, they asked weird questions. How's the cottage market? Have you thought about what you'd want us to do with the place? Do you have a will? At first, I thought I was being paranoid. ALS was messing with my head, right? But then Michael actually asked me, point blank, if the cottage was in our names jointly or if it was separate property. And Jennifer asked about my life insurance policy. They weren't asking because they cared. They were asking because they were doing math. So I did some math too. I called David. We had a very long conversation about estate planning and probate and British Columbia property law, and we made some changes. The cottage is no longer in both our names. It's in your name only. I transferred my half to you 14 months ago. It's done, recorded, legal. The cottage is 100% yours, Richard. The life insurance policy, the one for $250,000, you're the only beneficiary, not the kids. You. Our savings account, our investment account, all joint with right of survivorship. The moment I die, they're automatically yours. No probate, no waiting, no fighting. I also set up a trust. There's money in there for the grandkids, Josh and Emma, $25,000 each, but they don't get it until they're 25 years old. For education, for a house, for whatever they need. Not their parents. Them. Michael and Jennifer get nothing. Not because I don't love them. I do. They're my children. But Richard, love isn't enough reason to reward cruelty. They abandoned us. They abandoned me when I needed them most. And worst of all, they abandoned you. They left you to care for me alone, to watch me die alone, and they did it knowingly, deliberately. That's not forgetfulness, that's not being busy. That's a choice. So I made a choice too. I chose to protect the man who never left my side. The man who married me 35 years ago and meant every word of those vows, in sickness and in health. You showed up for the sickness, baby. You earned the health, whatever's left of our life together. David has all the paperwork. He'll walk you through everything. But Richard, I need you to hear this from me. You are not being selfish. You are not being unfair. You are not denying your children their inheritance. I am choosing to leave everything to my husband. That's my right. That's my choice. And it's the right choice. Don't let them bully you. Don't let them guilt you. Stand your ground. You've earned this. You've earned peace. You've earned to live out your years in the cottage you love without worrying about money, without worrying about guilt. I love you, Richard. I'm so sorry I can't be there with you. But I'll be watching over you from somewhere, I hope. And I'll be so proud of you. Be happy, my love. That's all I want. Be happy. The video ended. I sat there in the dark, crying, for I don't know how long. Eventually, I went to bed. Alone in the bed we'd shared for 35 years. I didn't sleep. At 7:42 in the morning, I heard a car pull up outside. Then another. I looked out the window. Michael's Mercedes. Jennifer's Lexus. They were here. I watched them get out. Michael in a business suit, like he was coming from a meeting. Jennifer in yoga pants and a designer jacket. They stood in the driveway, talking, gesturing at the cottage, planning their strategy. I put on coffee. I wasn't ready for this, but Patricia had prepared me. I had to trust her. The knock came at 8 o'clock exactly. I opened the door. Dad! Jennifer pushed past me, pulling me into a hug that felt rehearsed. Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry we couldn't make it yesterday. Emma's tournament ran late, and then there was traffic. We came as soon as we could, Michael added, stepping inside. He looked around the cottage like he was appraising it. How are you holding up? I'm here, I said quietly. Coffee? Sure, Michael said, already walking toward the living room. He stopped when he saw the hospital bed. Oh, you haven't had them pick this up yet? It's been one day, Michael. Right. Of course. Sorry. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd had 1,000 family dinners, where the kids had done homework, where Patricia and I had paid bills and planned vacations and grown old together. Jennifer kept looking around. It's so quiet here. Are you sure you want to stay? Why wouldn't I? She exchanged a glance with Michael. Well, it's a lot of space for one person. And the upkeep, the property taxes. Dad, this place must be worth at least $800,000 now, maybe more. The Okanagan market is insane. There it was, less than 12 hours after their mother's memorial. I'm not selling, I said. We're not saying sell right away, Michael jumped in. But maybe start thinking about it? You could move into a condo in Kelowna, something easier to manage, more social. You shouldn't be alone out here. I've been alone for 18 months, I said. Where were you then? Silence. Jennifer's face flushed. That's not fair, Dad. We had responsibilities. So did I. I had the responsibility of caring for your mother while she died. And I did it. Alone. Dad, we couldn't just drop everything, Michael started. You couldn't visit for an afternoon? You couldn't call more than once a month? You couldn't be at her memorial? We're here now, Jennifer said defensively. We're trying to help. Help how? By telling me to sell the cottage? Another glance between them. Michael pulled out his phone. Actually, Dad, we wanted to talk to you about Mom's estate. We know this is hard, but there are practicalities. The will, the assets, the property. Everything is already handled, I said. What do you mean handled? Jennifer's voice sharpened. Your mother took care of everything. The estate is settled. Michael's expression changed. What are you talking about? There has to be probate. The will has to go through the courts. Assets need to be divided. Not if everything was in joint ownership with right of survivorship. The color drained from his face. What did you say? Your mother and I owned everything jointly. When she died, it automatically passed to me. There's nothing to probate. That's not possible, Jennifer said. The cottage wasn't joint property. Mom inherited it from Grandma. It was hers separately. It was, I agreed. Until 14 months ago when she transferred her half to me. Now it's mine. 100%. Michael stood up. You manipulated her. She was sick. She wasn't thinking clearly. She was completely lucid 14 months ago. She could still speak, still move her arms. She went to the lawyer's office herself, with me. She signed the documents. There are witnesses. This is bullshit, Michael said. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't cut us out. She didn't cut you out of anything. She left you exactly what you deserved. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. Angry tears. How can you say that? We're her children. Then where were you? My voice rose. Where were you when she needed you? When she was dying? We couldn't, Jennifer started. Yes, you could. You chose not to. You chose your jobs and your kids' activities and your busy lives. You chose to let me handle everything alone, and your mother saw that. She saw it clearly. So what, she left everything to you? The house, the life insurance, everything? Michael's voice was venomous now. Yes, that's not legal. We'll contest it. You'll lose, I said calmly. Everything was done legally, properly. Your mother was of sound mind. She knew exactly what she was doing. Why would she do this? Jennifer was crying now, real tears. We're her children! Ask yourselves that question, I said. Ask yourselves why your mother felt she needed to protect me from you. Michael was on his phone now. I'm calling a lawyer. You do that. But before you waste your money, you should know something. Your mother left letters, documentation, text messages. She saved every conversation where you said you were too busy to visit, every phone call where you cut her off after 5 minutes. She documented everything. He looked up. You're lying. I'm not. She knew this was coming. She knew you'd show up after she died, demanding your share. So she prepared. This is insane, Michael shouted. You're talking about our mother like she was some kind of manipulative. She was protecting her husband. I cut him off. From her children who abandoned us. Who do you think paid for her care? The nursing, the equipment, the medication? Who do you think sat with her every single day? Who do you think held her hand while she died? We would have been there if we'd known she was that close, Jennifer said. I told you she was declining. I told you to come. You said you were busy. I told you 3 months ago she probably had weeks left. You said you'd visit soon. I called you the day before she died and said if you wanted to say goodbye, you needed to come now. You said you couldn't get away. The room fell silent except for Jennifer's crying. Get out, I said quietly. What? Michael stared at me. Get out of my house. You didn't want to be here when Patricia was alive. You don't get to be here now that she's gone. Dad, please. Jennifer reached for me. I said, get out. They didn't move for a long moment. Then Michael grabbed his keys. This isn't over. We'll fight this. You do what you need to do, I said. But right now, get out. They left. I watched them stand in the driveway again, arguing, making phone calls. Then they drove away. I sat down at the table and cried. Not because of them, because Patricia had been right. About everything. An hour later, my doorbell rang again. I almost didn't answer, but when I looked out, I saw David Chen standing there with his briefcase. I thought you might need this today, he said when I opened the door. How did you know they'd come? Patricia told me they would. She said they'd show up within 24 hours. He came inside, set his briefcase on the table. How bad was it? Bad. He nodded. I have something to show you. Patricia gave me specific instructions. If Michael and Jennifer showed up demanding their inheritance, I was to present you with this. He pulled out a thick folder. Inside were documents, printouts of text messages, call logs, a timeline. Patricia started documenting 18 months ago, David explained. Every missed visit, every short phone call, every excuse. She was meticulous. Why? Because she knew they'd try to claim she wasn't of sound mind. She knew they'd say you manipulated her. She wanted evidence that she knew exactly what she was doing. And why? He pulled out another document. This is her video will. It's legally binding. She recorded it in this office with me and 2 witnesses present. She was evaluated by her doctor the same day to confirm cognitive capacity. She specifically disinherited Michael and Jennifer and explained her reasons on camera. I don't want to watch it, I said. You don't have to. but they might force the issue if they contest. You should be prepared. He walked me through everything. The cottage transfer, properly recorded with the land title office. The life insurance policy, with me as sole beneficiary. The joint accounts. The trust for the grandkids. She thought of everything, I said. She did. Richard, in 20 years of practicing estate law, I've never seen someone plan this thoroughly. Patricia knew her children would challenge this, and she made it bulletproof. Will they really try to fight it? Probably. But they'll lose. I can guarantee that. Everything Patricia did was legal. Everything was properly executed. And she had the documentation to prove she did it for valid reasons. What reasons? David hesitated, then pulled out a letter. She wrote this too. It's marked as part of her will file. She specifically says, "If my children contest my will, I want this read in court." What does it say? Do you want me to read it? I nodded. My hands were shaking too much to hold paper. David opened the letter and began, "To whom it may concern, I, Patricia Ann Sutherland, being of sound mind and body, do hereby explain my decision to disinherit my children, Michael Thomas Sutherland and Jennifer Patricia Reynolds. This decision was not made lightly. These are my children whom I carried, birthed, raised, and loved for their entire lives. But love does not obligate me to reward abandonment. For the past 18 months of my terminal illness, my children visited me twice in 547 days. They called me an average of twice per month, with calls lasting an average of 8 minutes. They were invited to 18 family dinners. They attended one. Meanwhile, my husband Richard cared for me without complaint. He learned to operate my feeding tube. He learned to suction my airway. He bathed me. He dressed me. He read to me. He held my hand. He told me I was beautiful when I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely think. He loved me until my last breath. I am leaving my estate to Richard because he earned it. Not through manipulation, not through coercion, through love, devotion, and sacrifice. My children are financially successful. They do not need my money. But Richard, who gave up everything to care for me, who will now face retirement alone, who deserves peace and security in his remaining years, does need it. This is my choice, made freely, with full understanding of its consequences. If my children choose to contest this will, know that they do so not out of love for me, but out of greed. They had countless opportunities to show they cared. They chose not to take them. I have no regrets about this decision. My only regret is that it needed to be made. Patricia Ann Sutherland. David folded the letter. If they contest, this gets read in open court, plus all the documentation. Every text message where they said they were too busy. Every recorded phone call. The nurse's testimony. The neighbor's testimony. Everyone who witnessed Richard caring for you alone. She really thought of everything. She loved you. She wanted you protected. After David left, I walked out to the dock. The rain had stopped. The lake was calm. I stood there for a long time, thinking about Patricia, about the kids, about everything. My phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but I saw it was Tom. "How are you doing?" he asked. "The kids came this morning." Jesus. Already? Patricia knew they would. I told him everything. The letter, the documents, the video, Will. Tom listened without interrupting. "She was one hell of a woman," he said finally. "Yes, she was." "What are you going to do now?" I looked out at the lake. "I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep this cottage. I'm going to have coffee on this dock every morning like Patricia and I used to do. And I'm going to live the life she wanted me to live." "Good. You've earned that, Richard." "Have I, though? I feel guilty." "About what? Caring for your wife? Following her wishes?" "Richard, you did nothing wrong. Nothing. Patricia made her choice, and it was the right one. Don't let Michael and Jennifer make you doubt that." After we hung up, I went back inside. I looked at the hospital bed in the corner. Tomorrow I'd call to have it picked up. Tonight it could stay. Tonight I needed to remember. I sat in Patricia's chair and pulled out my laptop. I opened my email and started typing. "Dear Josh and Emma, this is Grandpa. I'm writing to tell you about your grandmother's last few months and about what she set up for you." I wrote them both long letters. I told them about their grandmother's courage, her humor even when she couldn't speak, her love for them even when they didn't visit. I told them about the trust she'd set up, the money waiting for them when they turned 25. I told them their grandmother wanted them to have opportunities, to build lives, to be happy. And I told them that my door was always open, even if their parents wasn't. It was midnight when I finished. I sent the emails. I didn't know if they'd read them, but I'd done what I could. 3 weeks later, Michael's lawyer sent a letter. They were contesting the will, claiming Patricia wasn't mentally competent, claiming undue influence, claiming I'd manipulated her. David wasn't worried. We expected this. We're ready. It took 6 months. 6 months of lawyers, depositions, document production. David presented everything. The video will, the doctor's evaluation, the documented timeline of the kids' abandonment, Sarah's testimony about my daily care, the Hendersons' testimony, Bill from the marina who saw me caring for Patricia every single day. The judge threw out the contest after the first hearing. He actually quoted from Patricia's letter in his ruling. The decedent made her wishes abundantly clear and provided substantial justification for her decisions. This court finds no evidence of diminished capacity or undue influence. The will stands as written. Michael and Jennifer were ordered to pay legal fees. They appealed. They lost again. I haven't heard from them in over a year now. I hear through Tom that Michael got divorced. Jennifer moved to Toronto. I don't know if they ever think about their mother or if they're just bitter about the money. But Josh called me 6 months ago. He's 17 now, thinking about university. He wanted to hear stories about his grandmother. We talked for 2 hours. Emma sent me a birthday card last month. She drew a picture of the cottage. She's 12, and she remembers visiting when she was little. She asked if she could come stay next summer. I said yes, of course. This cottage is full of memories. It should have more. I'm 68 now. I've been alone for 2 years. Some days are harder than others. But I wake up every morning in the home Patricia and I built together, and I have coffee on the dock where we watched 1,000 sunsets, and I feel her with me. The life insurance money is in safe investments. The cottage is paid off. I'm comfortable, secure. I don't have to worry about money. Patricia made sure of that. Sometimes people at the marina or in town ask about Michael and Jennifer. I don't say much, just that we're not in touch. Some of them know the story, the ones who were around during Patricia's illness. They saw what happened. They don't judge. Last week I was at the grocery store and saw a woman around Patricia's age struggling with her walker. Her adult daughter was with her, patient and kind, helping her shop. They were laughing together. I had to leave. I sat in my truck in the parking lot and cried. Not for what I lost, for what Michael and Jennifer lost. They'll never know what it meant to truly show up for someone. They'll never know the depth of love that comes from caring for someone in their darkest time. They'll never know that real love isn't about inheritance and money. It's about holding someone's hand in the rain. I hope they figure it out someday. I hope they learn. But that's their journey now, not mine. Mine is here, in this cottage, on this lake, living the life Patricia wanted me to live, the life I earned by loving her until her last breath. Some people might think what Patricia did was cruel, cutting out her own children, but she didn't cut them out. She let them go. There's a difference. She acknowledged the reality of who they'd become and made her peace with it. She didn't punish them. She protected me. That's what love does. Real love. It protects. I think about that when I sit on the dock now, watching the sunrise like I'm doing this morning. The lake is quiet. The coffee is hot. The cottage is peaceful. Patricia would be happy I'm here. She'd be happy I'm okay. And I am okay. It took time, but I am. People ask me if I have regrets. Just one. I wish I'd had more time with her. But that's a regret you can have when you truly loved someone, when you were there for every moment you could be. Michael and Jennifer probably have different regrets. They'll look back someday and realize they weren't there. They'll realize they chose conference calls and hockey tournaments over their mother's last days. They'll realize too late. But that's not my burden to carry anymore. Patricia made sure of that. I raised my coffee mug to the lake, to the morning, to the woman who loved me enough to protect me even after death. Thank you, I whisper, for everything, for 35 years, for this place, for letting me love you, for loving me back. The lake doesn't answer, but somewhere, I think Patricia hears me. And she knows I'm going to be okay.